Valley Club, there are a lot of great characters in Marvel Strike Force, a lot of trashy characters in Marvel Strike Force, and then you have those characters that are kind of in between. You do need to build them, but you don't want to over-invest in them, and that's the characters that we're talking about in these videos. The resource traps, characters that you do need to build. They do have value in the game, but you don't want to over-invest in them. So if you were to see what are the biggest resource traps in Marvel Strike Force today, you know what to do, Valley Club. Find that like button and let's go smash it. Welcome back to the ValleyFlyin channel. I am ValleyFlyin. I hope you're having an excellent day. In this video, we are talking about the biggest resource trap characters in Marvel Strike Force. These are not trashy characters. You do need to build them and they do have value in the game, but you don't want to over-invest in them. Resources are very valuable, gold training mats, so you don't want to waste them on characters that don't necessarily need it. And if you get some value from this video today, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell so you know as soon as a brand new Marvel Strike Force video goes up. At least 5 pieces of Marvel Strike Force content every single week on this channel. Well, let's get in the game and talk about the newest team in the game. Fantastic Four MCU. They're so new that Mr. Fantastic and Franklin Richards aren't even in the game yet. Invisible Woman MCU will be involved in the arena meta, and this whole team will be involved in the arena meta if you don't have some of the mythical characters like Odin, like Professor X, like some of these other characters. But kind of what we saw with the Annihilators, the characters that are going to be involved in arena are going to be the 3 new characters. So Mr. Fantastic, Franklin, Invisible Woman. The other 2 spots probably taken up by some mythical characters, maybe Professor X, maybe Shadow King, maybe Mephisto, maybe Odin, maybe he's one of these other characters. But as far as arena, Human Torch and a Thing probably not going to be used. In the testing on the test server, it was hybrid teams, especially teams with Professor X. That was in the arena meta. So these 2 characters, you're going to use them on a full Fantastic Four MCU team. I'm talking about Human Torch and a Thing. In War, in Crucible, you're probably not going to be doing hybrid teams of the Fantastic Four MCU in those other game modes, but in Arena particularly, and that's what I'm talking about for these 2 trap characters, you don't need to build them for Arena. You do need to build them for War. If you like War, you need to build them for Crucible. If you like Crucible, you don't really engage with these 2 PvP game modes. I don't think you really need to build up the reworked Torch or Thing. Maybe, yeah, I guess that would be for War too. I was gonna say the new Avengers, but yeah, even that would be for War. So basically, the characters that you need to build are the 3 new ones, and you can ease up on these characters as far as resources if you don't want to. Human Torch and a Thing. All right, moving on to the next team, the Accursed team. This is the most recent full team that we have in the game. We do have 1 member of the new Fantastic Four as of me recording this, but we don't have the other 2 members. But the Accursed was the latest team to be released. They are a Cosmic Crucible team, very good in Cosmic Crucible, but kind of struggle outside of it. Even in the Cosmic Crucible nodes in the negative zone, they aren't that strong. They're not that great in War. And some of these kits are really, really only good on the Accursed team and in Cosmic Crucible. But even with their value in Cosmic Crucible, if you're not into the game mode, you're probably not going to build this entire team. But as far as Cosmic Crucible, even right now, a lot of the high-end teams are replacing 1 character, Mordo, with other characters. Quasar and Mephisto are the most common replacements. So not a lot of reason to build Mordo if you are high level in Cosmic Crucible. If you're low level in Cosmic Crucible and don't have some of these characters like Quasar, like Mephisto, or don't have them built up, you're probably still going to use Mordo in Cosmic Crucible, or if you need Mephisto and Quasar on other teams. But if you're using the hybrid team, really no reason to build Mordo on this team, because if you're not using him on the Accursed in Cosmic Crucible, it's not gonna really give you a lot of value other places. His kit is not that bad. He has a decent kit. Big AoE attack with heal block on the ultimate. He has a stun on the special with blinds to everybody else. I really like his kit. And then this passive here, on death of any character, heal self and most injured mystic ally for 10% of this character's max health. The character died was a mystic character, heal self for the most injured mystic ally. 15% of this character's max health. Does a lot of good stuff with deaths and is not a bad character. I don't think he's a trash character, but you're really looking to streamline your resources, maximize the effectiveness of them. Mordo is a character that could be a resource trap and could cost you a lot of gold and training mats that you could be diverting towards other characters. Back to the Accursed team, though, I do want to talk about another potential trap, and that is Satana. She needs to stay alive, so you do need to build her up enough to stay alive for the enemies that you're facing. But if we look at a lot of her kit, it's not really based on her hard stats. Actually, the passive is different. But if we look at a lot of her kit, her special, her ultimate, and her basic, it's based on percent base damage. Steal 11% of the health from the primary target. Redistribute that health to Accursed allies. So really, her damage, her stats don't matter as much as long as she's alive, because this is a percent-based attack. We have another percent-based attack on this one here. We are going to steal 10% of the health from all enemies. So this is a lot of health that you're redistributing. But again, this attack is really based on the percent, not necessarily her stats. And same thing with the basic, attacking the primary target, 160% piercing. That does matter, but then you're also stealing 10% of the health from the primary target. So she's not a trash character. She is a very good character in Cosmic Crucible on this Accursed team. But again, if you're really starved for resources, because of a lot of her attacks is based on the percent damage to the enemies, you may not need to max her out unless you're a really hardcore Cosmic Crucible player. Our next team to discuss is the Thunderbolts, and this is the most recent team since the Accursed. So I guess we're kind of going in reverse order since these teams were released, but you need this team. You need them for the Chaotic Storm raids right now. They are the bio solution. The Hive Mind with Super Scroll can kind of get through that, but as far as a full team, this is the only full team, that cookie cutter team that can get through the raids. Very, very good in the raids. Build them for the raids as much as you need to, so you can reliably sim the raids. Once you do that, though, you may want to stop investing in this team. Their performance in Cosmic Crucible is kind of non-existent, at least for me. Maybe at the higher levels with people with diamonds on the Thunderbolts, they are used, but at my level, not really used in Cosmic Crucible. And I see them a lot on defense and war. I'm not in a hardcore war alliance, so I guess you could use them for some teams just because they are a team, a recent team with recent stats. So just for that fact, they're going to perform okay in a mode like war, where you need a lot of teams built up at a decent level. So you do need to build them for raids. Like I said, war, it is totally up to you how big you want to build these characters, but there's one character that is getting replaced on the Thunderbolts team. It is this one, Ghost. And as far as in the raids, Ghost, Taskmaster, I think they're both needed for the raids. But as far as in war, if that's the only other mode that the Thunderbolts have some viability in, I think the kit for Taskmaster is a little more designed for war. He originally was a war character. I think these were originally, the Pimtech characters were really Dark Dimension characters who had some added value in war. So if we're replacing one character as a trap character, it would be Ghost. However, once you're done with the raids, unless you're really into war, I don't think there's a lot of value to build Taskmaster or Ghost. Victoria Hand, Songbird, Hyperion, maybe using them on some hybrid teams in war, but this entire team, pretty much raids and war, is where you're going to get the value, at least in the meta right now. All right, and going back from the Thunderbolts, I think the Vigilantes as a whole is a great team. They have value in the raids, they have value in Crucible, they have value in war. I think the Vigilantes are a great team to build. Same thing for the Starjammers. They're great in Cosmic Crucible, don't have a huge value outside of that, but Lalandra's kit is solid, Havoc's kit is solid, and I think both of these characters will have value in the future. Liberty is a great team in and outside of war, but there's one member that really struggles, this guy, War Machine. Ultimus replaces him a lot in war. Ultimus kit is very solid for taunts and the amount of buffs on the enemy. These the Liberty, they do a good job of placing taunts on the enemies. So Liberty, they are going to give you value for war, but yeah, if you don't want to put all the investment in these teams or in all of these characters, Peggy, Patriot, Falcon are great. Even Captain Sam is great, but War Machine does struggle a little bit. So if you are into war, the Liberty team is great. If you're not into war, you don't need to build a Liberty at all at this point, because they're not a new team anymore. So all their new team events are over. And War Machine, really not a lot of reason to go back and build this character at this point, unless you're really, really into war. And if you are, maybe use Ultimus instead. Before the Liberty was the Uncanny Avengers, the Mighty Avengers, and the Immortal X-Men. I think the Mighty Avengers war team, if you're into war, you can build these characters. Same thing with the Immortal X-Men. They're okay and Cosmic Crucible, neither of these are like the meta team. So Mighty Avengers not like the meta team for War, Immortal X-Men not like the meta team for Cosmic Crucible. But if we go to the raid team here, this is a team that you do need to build. I think the weak link on this team, you need Jean, Storm, Beast for Cosmic Crucible. I think they provide a lot of value. Hercules has a lot of standalone value, but Falcon is probably the weak link on this team. Yeah, it's another rework character that isn't standing up to the new characters, but he does have a solid kit. I like Red Wing, fills speed bar for self and allies by 10%. This character's max health. He does some damage based on 210% damage and piercing, and it does that get increased for each positive effect on the enemy. But I think at this point, if you're going to build either the Mighty Avengers or the Immortal X-Men, those are fine for the game modes, the Crucible or War. But as far as the raids, I think you get by with a big Jean, a big Hercules, and a big Storm, and a decent Beast. Falcon is the odd link out. I think the only reason you go back and build them at this point, once you're done with building this team for the raids, is for War. And if you're not really into War, there's like zero value to go back and build Falcon. So this is the trap character of the team, in my opinion. All right, as we move on to some older teams, and we are now at the Absolute A-Force, which is great in War. This entire team is not really worth building outside of War. Kahora and Miss Marvel Classic are, but the rest of these characters don't really have a lot of value outside of War. So the entire team, if you're not into War, there's no reason to build them at this point. Maybe Kahora and Miss Marvel Classic, but the rest of these characters, not so much. But if you are into War, I think the one that struggles outside the War the most is Medusa. Now, she does have this passive, which is great. Enemies cannot spawn with evade or death proof, but as long as she has enough focus, you should be able to do that. Her damage, she does have some big damage, but you've seen, I get through wars pretty good with level 95 Medusa. So, and the Absolute A-Force still works pretty good. I do have my Kahora and Miss Marvel Classic built, but unless you're really into War, not a big reason to go back and build Medusa. Her passive is nice, but I think you still get that even with this minimal investment, like a level 95, gear tier 18. I'm still able to use that passive pretty effectively. So, yeah, if you're not into War, no reason to really go back and build Medusa at this point. She is a potential trap character. Let's move down. Astral is a pretty good team. The Undying is a great team for War. They're kind of falling out of War, but every October for the past few years, we got a new Undying member. They've got a revitalization, so they should be getting a new member in a few months. And I think Squirrel Girl was the voted character. They'll be good for War again, but no reason to build this entire team if you're not into War. The Nightstalkers are the solution for the raids, the Mystic raids. And if we go to all of these members, Blade and Oath still have a lot of value in the game. We have some hybrid value from Agatha Harkness, and Man-Thing does some good stuff with his taunting. Moon Knight, he was like the trap character on the previous video that we did for this subject. He is still on the list. So Moon Knight, you build them for the raids with the rest of the Nightstalkers, but once you're out of the raids, I don't think you build the rest of well, you still build Blade and Oath, but Moon Knight is the one that you drop. A lot of times he's replaced by other characters with the Nightstalkers, and at this point the Nightstalkers are pretty much Blade and Oath as hybrid characters going on to other teams. So Moon Knight is a trap character at this point. All right, let's scroll down on our roster because this next character I want to talk about does not have a team. He's kind of a hybrid character, and where is he? Here he is. It is Ares. Ares is great for War, and kind of like Medusa has a great passive. At the start of any match, enemy characters cannot spawn with Safeguard. And once he does this, the rest of his kit, it is great if you build him up, but I don't have him built up, and he does exactly what I need him to do with this, remove the Safeguard from his passive. So unless you're really into War or need his damage for some specific reason, Ares is a big trap character that you don't want to overinvest in. All right, the last team I want to mention is the Spider Society. Peter B, Pav, and Penny. Some people are still building them, and I think they are still a great squad for new players, but since they've been replaced by the Vigilantes, once you can farm the Vigilantes and you're out of that newer player experience, because they are pretty easy to get. Spider Society is pretty easy to get. Once you have access to the Vigilantes, stop building the Spider Society. Don't build them at all at this point. Even Pav and his damage doesn't have as much value as it used to, so no reason to build these guys up. past where they were no reason to invest more diamonds into them. There was a point in time when diamonds and you build these characters as much as possible, but they were replaced in pretty much all game modes by the vigilantes. So once you have access to the vigilantes, stop building the Spider Society, put everything towards the vigilantes. And that is my list of the trap characters in Marvel Strike Force for July of 2025. Hopefully you got some value from this video, and if you did, leave it a like. If you don't agree with some of these choices, are there some characters that you feel are so valuable that they're not trap characters, or are there other characters that you feel are big traps, resource traps that you feel should be on this list? Let me know in the comments, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I will see you guys next time. Take care. Check out my second channel. Check out some of the other videos. Hulk fist bump. ValleyFlyin out. Have a great day, guys.